Greetings and salutations, everyone. I'm back with some more Hammer here. I know one would think that I would need a break after 20 films in 20 weeks, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my back catalog. As for a little more of where this video is going, if you're new here, I make these little videos about things that I enjoy, usually about films and occasionally other stuff that I just want to share. And, if you like what you see or if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing and hitting that bell icon so that way you get a notification when I put up new content, which is usually once or twice a week, with the occasional extra one thrown in. But yeah, be sure to check out the back catalog and share both this video and channel around, as it really does help a lot. But now that that's all out of the way, so I went through that 20 film set of Hammer films, which was a lot. There were a lot in here. And it was pretty decent, a little bit of a spoiler alert here was that, my little wrap-up video that I have at the end of the series did express, they had a little bit of disappointment. The only one was really just that this cover, Hammer Films, it looks very horrific. It even says things about how we dare you to watch, but they were not all horror. In fact, some of them were comedies, some of them were war dramas. They were still good, but I just really felt like, I wanted to get more throwback horror, and I wanted to get my hands on more Hammer horror films, which I did, especially some of these Christopher Lee Dracula ones that I've been wanting to watch. I've been wanting specifically to revisit what little sliver of memories I have from seeing bits and pieces of those films growing up as a kid. So I've got several, and I just checked out the first one, which is titled Horror of Dracula from 1958. And the synopsis for this film is, it's Dracula. And by that I mean, it's Dracula? So anyways, the official synopsis is, Jonathan Harker rouses the ire of Count Dracula after he accepts a job at the vampire's castle under false pretenses. Harker's friend, Dr. Van Helsing, then embarks on a hunt for the predatory villain when he targets Harker's loved ones. If it sounds different, well, it really is, not just from the Lugosi film, but from the original book. It definitely strays quite a bit. And, I actually have, here we go. Little classics here. A lot of dust on there. It isn't just Dracula, the Frankenstein part of this book as well. I've seen it with the, the Wizard of Oz stuff. That film really deviates from it quite a bit. As well as stuff from Grimm's Fairy Tales. All these are dusty. I need to read more. And Necronomicon, any of the H.P. Lovecraft stuff. A lot of these works over the years have kind of been adjusted and changed to try to fit them into a film or try to make something that works better as a film, since they enjoyed how it was written. But, even though this film really strayed a lot from both the original book and any previous Dracula interpretations that there have been, I just had to kind of get over all that and just settle back and think, this isn't Dracula the book. This isn't the Dracula of Lugosi. This is a film with Dracula, heavily inspired by the book by Bram Stoker. And with that in mind, I actually really did enjoy this one a lot and feel that people should check it out. I had a lot of what I've mentioned in many of my previous Hammer reviews, about the way that color was used, the running time, seeing how some of these actors were, such as Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, much earlier in their careers. And this one in particular also had Michael Gough in it, I believe is how you say his name, of Batman fame, where he played Alfred, as well as more recently, not that recent, but more recently in his career, he was in Sleepy Hollow and did some voices in Corpse Bride. But this one also had Jeanine Fay in it, this little girl at the time who was in Never Take Candy from a Stranger, a Hammer film which I did a review for and really stuck with me quite a bit, is one of my favorites in that set. But, keeping a different mindset about where these films are coming from going forward, this really has me excited to check out the rest of what's kind of in this catalog of Dracula-based films from Hammer, which, if my list is correct, consist of, so we've got Dracula from 1958, otherwise known as the, what's this one called? The Horror of Dracula. But we also had 1960, The Brides of Dracula, 1966, Dracula, Prince of Darkness, 1968, Dracula has risen from the grave. In 1970, there was Taste the Blood of Dracula, as well as Scars of Dracula. 1972, we had Dracula AD, 1972. 1973, we had The Satanic Rites of Dracula. And in 1974, The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires. So I won't be doing a video on each and every one of those individually. I think that would take too long. That gives quite a lot to look through, but I think after I'm done, what I'm going to do is either do a single video for 2 or 3 of those films to kind of talk about them, or one that's just got all of them in it. You know, they spend about 1 or 2 minutes on each one talking about the pros and cons of them, how I enjoyed it and everything. You know, with the goal being that each, that video will be a relatively short, maybe 15 to 20-minute video about that series in general. But, so if you're curious about where those goes, be sure to subscribe and everything. And in a few weeks, I'll be doing a follow-up video to this one once I've caught up on those Dracula films. It may take me a few weeks to get around to them because I have a lot of things in my back catalog myself that I've been wanting to watch. So a lot of new stuff coming out all the time as well. But in the meantime, of course, there'll be some other content on this channel that I'll be putting up, such as the usual 80s retro reviews for various genres, any new horror films that hit services like Netflix or especially Shudder, additional horror classic one-offs, whether it's some of the older Universal stuff that I still have to go through some items in that list, or some other stuff from Hammer that's not Dracula-based, as well as just stuff that's a classic from my generation, stuff that I grew up in the 70s and 80s watching, and of course the occasional new film that really got me excited. You know, earlier this year I did one for the Batman and one for Everything Everywhere All at Once, so be sure to check those out as well. But anyways, thanks for sticking around to the end of this video. You know, I hope you enjoyed it and you listened to all that YouTube stuff that I said at the beginning about subscribing and all that. And I will see you in the next one.